And for starters, Denzel Washington is not going to be in a fucking X-Men movie. That's never going to happen. Let's just calm that down. Let's calm that all
Right.
the way down.
I know we want Black Needle, but let's
But
hold our horses a bit.
it ain't going to be Denzel Washington. That's not going to happen, man. That will never happen. The rumors of Magneto being recasted as a black male in the civil rights era, I mean, it sounds interesting, and that would be an example of what it is that we've been talking about. That would actually be an example of race bending in a way to where you change the entire origin of a character based off of the ethnicity of the person who's portraying the character. The flip side to some of this here, okay, the character Blade or Static Shock. If the character of Virgil were to be recasted as a person who was not black, would that be controversial?
I think for sure, man, because he went through gang violence. That's how he got his powers,
Mm.
and it's his culture is a part of his origin. I
So we're
think
talking about context.
with Blade, it's a little bit different because, in all honesty, we love Blade, but we love Wesley Snipes' Blade. Let's be
Oh
real.
man.
No one gave a fuck about Blade before the movie. No
Yep.
one gives a fuck about Blade after the movie. No one's
Man.
buying Blade comics. The only Blade comic I ever seen sells the damn first appearance. I,
Man. Man.
you tell me what run of Blade was so hot even after the movie. You tell me, because I
Bro,
don't think it exists. To be
do you
fair with you,
remember do you remember the Blade TV series?
with Sticky
On
Fingers,
uh,
I ain't watched that shit, man. On Spike TV, I wasn't watching that. I was not watching that, man. No, no, man.
yeah, that shit
I
was
rejected that shit, man. No, I
yeah.
mean, cool for Sticky Fingers that he got on TV, man, and had a television series. Good for him, but
Yeah,
I
but
will
yeah.
consume that shit, bro. But yeah, like honestly, with Blade, if Wesley Snipes didn't portray Blade, he could have been white. I honestly believe that because Blade wasn't really defined on print. He was like Deadshot. You know what I'm saying? Like he
Mm-hmm.
was a B C lister, D lister, and you had an actor like Wesley Snipes take that material and pretty much gave it life. He made Blade a character, a
Right.
real character, and so
Right.
now Blade is now intrinsically black because of Wesley Snipes. So I mean, you could have race bended Blade before Wesley Snipes, no problem. But after, nah, like now it's like the actor that has to really elevate the material with him. It's not enough to be a badass vampire slayer because we had badass vampire slayers for years now, with Buffy and the Lost Boys and all
Man.
that all those
Shit,
stories.
shit. Hugh Jackman tried to do it with Van
Van
Helsing.
Helsing, right. And Van Helsing, yeah, Hugh Jackman tried to be a vampire killer. So it's really the actor that really makes Blade. And so far, Wesley Snipes is the only one that's done him right, done him justice. Not even
Right.
justice, just really just elevated him,
Mm-hmm.
catapulted the character into mainstream success and mainstream acceptance too. We love Blade. We really guard and hold him dearest to our hearts because again, this is one of those few examples of a kick-ass black man starring and leading in a feature film, and there was
Man.
nothing, no agenda attached to it. He just whooped ass in a cool, really cool way, man, and
Yeah,
different
man.
than things before. It was almost like a rebirth of Jim Kelly. It was almost
Yeah.
like a rebirth of Jim Kelly on the big screen. But I think race bending certain characters, it's almost on an individual basis. It really depends on the origin of the character. If race is linked to the origin and personality of the character that's the actor or actress is portraying. And so I think Static is different because Static has
Mm-hmm.
problems of being a black teenager in the ghetto in the cities, and that's a part of his character. That's a part of his character arc for him to be able to avoid all those obstacles and avoid joining a gang and to do the right thing, basically, like the movie, do the right thing. That's a part of his character, Virgil Hawkins. So we root for him not to fall into those pitfalls and those traps that the average person would fall to. We root for him to rise above that, to use his superpowers for good, and to be a superhero to get out the hood. So if you race Bennett a bronze tiger, okay.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
I've never heard of Bronze Tiger.
Michael J. White actually portrayed him in the Arrow TV series. He's just basically martial artist, black guy, super strong, has like Wolverine claw like weapons,
Oh man.
and he can fight Batman good, and that's really about it, man. For the longest time, I thought Iron Fist was Asian, man. I don't know why I didn't pick up on it.
With certain characters, it doesn't matter as much because Iron Fist is still a moniker, right? That's a title. The Immortal Iron Fist is a title that is held by a person. So before, there could have been multiple characters who were Iron Fist before and after the character that made that character popular. The same as Spawn. Many examples, a lot of examples. I mean, Spider-Man, too many examples to even mention. But the thing that kind of comes to mind as we're talking about this, in the original Tim Burton series of Batman films, if you recall, in the first Batman film, 1989, Harvey Dent was portrayed by one of the smoothest men to ever walk this earth, Mr. Billy D. Williams.
Hell yeah.
This was a real thing that happened. Mr. Billy D. Williams was the live action Harvey Dent for all of one movie, and apparently was contracted to actually portray Harvey Two-Face. Just didn't work out that way, right?
Right. Well, thankfully, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, Marlon Wayans was supposed to be Robin for Tim Burton in his series of Batman films. It just didn't happen the way that it was meant to happen. This is before the Batman properties had took off the way that they did. Obviously, you had the Adam West era of Batman and everything like that, but that wasn't anything that was taken seriously. You know, Tim Burton is an accomplished, well-known director. Michael Keaton was in this movie. Jack Nicholson was in this movie. Billy D. Williams, while he might not have been a star in that movie, his presence was definitely something that was there. So it was like, damn, Billy D. Williams was Harvey Dent? All right, cool. Maybe I'll get to see him again. In this day and age, that would be a cameo character that would be set up for something later on because you know who Harvey Dent is. Right. Just the idea that this is something that was happening even then, I could only imagine now that if, you know, this new series of Batman films that we got Jim Gordon being portrayed by a black man. We have Selena Kyle being portrayed by a biracial actress. Even the history of Catwoman goes back to Eartha Kitt. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't really consider any of that to be anything significant because these are just characters. Jim Gordon can still have the same origin story regardless of the ethnicity that he's being portrayed in because there's a Jim Gordon everywhere. There's an Asian Jim Gordon. There's a Latino James Gordon. There's a female James Gordon out there. You know, there's a black James Gordon out there somewhere. It's not anything that really applies in a way to where you could get all up in arms about it. I just think that sometimes either, like you were saying, people go too far into it or their level of discomfort is way too high and it gets to a level that's a little bit unhealthy.